Hello everybody, KingGodwise at God Total, and this is lesson number 18, and it's called Be Nowhere at Once. This is, again, a pretty simple lesson, but if you're aware of it, I think it'll help you a lot. Be nowhere at once simply means don't be somewhere where someone can target you and attack you. The best example of this is in boxing. Everyone says, move your head, keep your head moving. If you can have the greatest boxer in the world, when he quits moving his head and someone can hit him, they do. If you can't be hit because they don't exactly know where you're at, you're 10 times better. A good example of this is, if you understand boxing or followed, is Mike Tyson. When he was young and came out, he was bobbing and weaving. He was unhittable because you never knew where he was. He had the most unusual, he had great head movement. He was bobbing, he was weaving, he was slipping, he was going through, and he was going through people incredible. As soon as he stopped that, and people could hit him back and hit him before he was, and while he was coming in, he came in and hit you, and you couldn't quite target him. And he's just one boxer. There's dozens and dozens like this. There's very few boxers that, Ali had just such fast head that he could slip and get out of the way. But if you can get head, there's an old saying, move your head or somebody else is going to. Not moving your head, being nowhere at once is one of the best examples in boxing, and it applies to other things too. So that's an example if you understand that. Another example would be business. If you have to sign a deal, say you have to rent a property, and 2 other deals depend on you getting that property, then you're locked in. They've got you. They know what you have to do. If they think, oh, well, he could rent from us, or he could rent at another strip mall, or he could rent on the other, then you have some leverage because you're nowhere at once. They don't know what you have to do. This is very important. This is this whole concept, and it says lesson number 18, and you might have to just study it and think about it. But be nowhere at once. If they can't hit you, if they don't know where to target you, if they don't know where to shoot the bullets to kill you, they can't do it. And this is important. And in football, I'll give you another example. I use the analogy of Mike Tyson when he was beginning the boxing and then later on. In football, if you have a very mobile quarterback that's real mobile and he's really nowhere at once, it changes the whole game. If you have a quarterback that's sitting in the pocket and he's throwing and he doesn't move, and the rush can just zero in on him and blast him, he's not going to last that long. It changes everything. Those 3 examples in business, boxing, and football are all examples of this lesson that I call just be nowhere at once. And if you're aware of it, if you are in a conflict with anybody, it could be Mortal Kombat, it could be business, it could be a girlfriend, whatever it is, and you understand the concept of be nowhere at once, then you can win that encounter, or at least have a much greater chance of surviving the encounter. I use another analogy, like a sci-fi nerd. If the starship can lock its phasers on and blast you, they can do it. But if they can't, can't get lock on phasers, Captain. I can't lock on phasers. Well, as long as you can't lock on phasers and don't know where to fire effectively, that opponent is a danger to you. As soon as you can lock phasers on and fire, they're done. As soon as the head goes still and you can crack it, you can. As soon as the quarterback quits moving, you can. As soon as the business person knows you have to do this, you're stuck. All these are examples of be nowhere at once. I said you can have that. Another example of this is guerrilla warfare. If some opponent of the United States, the most powerful military force the world has ever seen, and they're doing guerrilla warfare, and the United States doesn't quite know where to retaliate, and they don't know where to attack, and they don't know where the enemy is, it doesn't matter how many aircraft carriers and ballistic missiles and millions of men and trillions of dollars they've spent. If they can't target their enemy, they can't effectively neutralize it, remove it, they can't fight back. So this is one advantage. This is why a tiny little guerrilla band, this is the power of guerrilla warfare. And you can use this to your advantage in everything, okay? I was coaching some wrestling, and this kid had his front leg out. He was real vulnerable to a single leg. And I said, as long as you have that vulnerability, you are vulnerable. You are not nowhere at once. You're inviting someone to take that single leg. I was wrestling with a guy, and he was a very successful Big Ten Division I heavyweight wrestler. He was kind of a small guy, and he wasn't as strong as me, but boy, when I went against him, I had a hard time with him. He was, if I got him down, I could do something, but on our feet, he was just difficult. And he was real difficult, and he just never was right. He was nowhere at once. I never could get a hold of him. I'd almost have to invite him to tie up. Sometimes I'd give him both underhooks just so I could lure him in, and that's another example. He was very successful beyond what his strength would have been because he had that ability to kind of be nowhere at once. He never was quite where you could get him. Another example of this, and I said I'm trying to use as many examples as I can because there's people that have never played football. There's people that have played football and immediately understand what I mean. There's people that have never boxed. Some people are boxing aficionados and they'll know immediately what I mean is, hey, keep your head moving, be nowhere at once. So if I seem repetitive, I'm just trying to hit as many people as I can with as many examples. One was judo. There's a guy, we were both cage fighters, and he was a very successful judo player, and we were getting kind of old, and I was kind of, we were both old for people still fighting, and I said to him one day, I said, do you feel like you're slowing down any? Do you feel like, age is catching up with you? Do you feel anything? The punch and power will stay with you as you get older, but your speed tends to go. And I said, how do you feel? And he looked at me and he said, no. He said, but then I don't know. I've never been fast. He said, I've always been slow. So I haven't changed speed any, but I don't know that I ever had speed. And I kind of went, wow, that's interesting. And then I thought about that, and I thought, he was a very successful judo player, a successful cage fighter, and he had that ability. He was nowhere at once. He was never in bad position, and he was never anywhere where someone could capitalize on him, where they could tee off on him, where they could throw him. He was always in good position, and by good position, I mean he was just real difficult to counter, to hit with something. He was difficult to score on in judo, and he was difficult to knock out or do anything to in a cage fight. And this can be in anything. Poker. When people start counting cards, and when they're looking at blackjack or they're looking at something, they're starting to do the odds. They're trying to paint you in a corner and see what you have the options of doing. They're trying to make sure you are where they are doing calculations of where they think you are and your percentages. Chess is the same way. If I know you're going to do this move, a grandmaster has lots of options. He can take your queen from here, here, here. A beginner just has few things he's doing. So those are some examples of be nowhere at once. It works in relationships. There's an old saying, he who loves least controls the relationship. If partner A loves partner B and can't live without partner B, and partner B can do without A, guess who controls that relationship? Partner B. Because partner B is nowhere at once. They don't know where partner A is, exactly where partner B expects them to be and knows where they're at. So this is I've covered a lot of different examples. Maybe I've covered in a kind of a surface area, but I want you to understand this. Be nowhere at once is a simple thing, and it's not a magic bullet that makes you successful in every encounter. But if you're aware of this and you kind of go into interactions, in conflicts, in battles, in war, with this in mind, I want to be nowhere at once. I don't want to be where my opponent can hit me. I don't want to be where someone can score on me. I don't want to be in a position where someone could hurt me. And you're minimizing that risk. That's fulfilling the rule, the lesson of be nowhere at once. That's about as simple as I can make it. You might have to study this and think it over and kind of incorporate it into what you're doing. I hope this helps somebody out here. Wish somebody had told me this before I had to learn it the hard way. And so, thank you very much. Bye.